Welcome to the video for Thursday, February 6th, 2025. My name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks on YouTube since 2016. Of course, got some good news for you today. We have improved to 4-0 my last four college basketball tier package plays on my premium page. We had Creighton laying the points, and they took care of Providence. Game just ended. Got the job done by double digits. That was getting a little close there, at the start of the second half, but they really started to pull away there at the end. Of course, if you want to see which one of these free plays on this video here today that I actually like the best, I've got another college basketball tier package pick going off here for you today on my premium page. Of course, if you sign up for that membership, you're going to get access to that package every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships during that time frame absolutely free. They're going to be included with your membership. Of course, that's why I always, tell folks my Gold Club package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. Gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And with that, folks, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to start off in the NBA. Mavericks at the Celtics, 7:30 Eastern tip-off. Boston is minus 10.5, totals 228. Now, the Celtics are 36-15 on the year, winners of their last four straight. Meanwhile, Dallas just one game above 500 right now, losing record against the number. Of course, more recently, the Mavs are on a 3-game skid. And they took the loss in 6 out of their last 9. Washington, Gafford, Powell, Martin, and Lively, they're all still out for the Mavericks. Anthony Davis is questionable. Not sure if we'll see his debut in Dallas Blue yet here tonight. Keep an eye on him. Now, I'll tell you what, if you're into historical trends, out of Dallas's last 10 meetings with Boston, the Mavs took the loss in all of those contests except for one. And unfortunately for them, Boston is making more three-pointers a game than any other franchise right now. They're also in the top 5 in scoring. Kristaps Porzingis makes 40% of his long balls, 19 points a game for him. And Jason Tatum, he's averaging over 26.5 points per contest himself. Now, when it comes to defensive play on the other end of the court, the Celtics do have the second lowest defensive field goal percentage in the entire NBA. Injury-wise, Drew Holiday is questionable for Boston. Of course, Dallas has a bunch of guys banged up, as I mentioned before. Now, the Mavericks went 7-1 to the over in their last 8. Boston saw 5 out of their last 8 get over the total themselves. I like Boston minus 10.5, over 228. All right, next matchup. It is going to be Rockets, Timberwolves, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Minnesota's -1, totals 216. The T-Wolves are 27-23 on the year, but losers of their last 2 straight. Houston on the other side, 32-18 themselves. They're incredibly tough to score points against. This is a really solid defensive team. The Rockets allowed just 108 points per contest, second in the league in 3 balls allowed per game. Amen Thompson's got the most blocks on the roster. Alpi Sengun with over 10.5 rebounds a night. So if you get a good number in player props, Sengun grabbing well over double-digit rebounds a game. Now, Minnesota on the other side, bottom 10 in scoring, bottom 10 in offensive boards. Randall and DiVincenzo still out for the T-Wolves. Eason and Van Fleet are questionable for Houston. Now, the Rockets saw 5 out of their last 9 stay under the line. Minnesota saw unders recently versus Washington, Atlanta, and Memphis. I like Houston +1, under 216. Next contest, Magic Nuggets, 9 o'clock East. Denver's -9, totals 221. Denver has been consistently kind of lazy on defense a bit. They're 24th in points given up, bottom 5 in field goals allowed. Meanwhile, Orlando on the other side, Still tough to score against despite their struggles. I know they're not playing great basketball at the moment, but this is a team who slows the game down. Really tough to put points up against. They're still allowing fewer points a game than any other team. Kind of remarkable considering, how bad they've been recently. The Magic, they also rank second in steals, third in defensive turnovers. Their defensive play certainly keeps them in ball games. And with this large number, catching nearly double digits, I think they should be able to keep this one close. Now, Suggs is questionable for the Magic. Watson and Westbrook still out for Denver. Keep an eye on Aaron Gordon as well. He's still listed as day-to-day with that calf injury. I like Orlando +9, under 221. All right, next matchup in breaking news. Just saw on the ticker, Jimmy Butler heading over to Golden State. So should be a good acquisition for them. But anyway, Warriors-Lakers, 10 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Lakers are -6.5, totals 222. LA's 29-19, winning record against the point spread. Golden State on the other side, losing record against the number this year. Golden State's currently in the bottom 5 in shooting from the field. They're actually worst in the league in shooting from the stripe. I know that's hard to believe when you got a guy like Steph Curry on the team, but they're making only 72% of their free throws. Dead last in foul shots made per game. Kind of a baffling stat. I tell you, if you were at a bar drinking with some buddies and you threw that one out there, they would think you're lying, that these guys are in the bottom 5 in field goals, dead last in free throws. Now, they're taking on a Laker team who rarely sends shooters to the foul line. They don't get in much foul trouble on defense, at least. They're 4th in the league in in free throws given up per game. Now, Los Angeles has also done a nice job against the 3-ball. They're in the top 10 in fewest three-pointers allowed. Reddish and Doncic are questionable for the Lakers. Look out for Luka. Not sure what his status is, but he's officially listed as day-to-day. Would be nice to see him suit up, but I think it's still kind of early. But regardless, keep an eye on him. Might see a Luka sighting. Kleba, he is still injured. He was banged up when he was with the Mavs, and looks like he's still banged up now. Now, for the Warriors on the other side, Green and Wiggins are questionable. Moody and Kuminga still out. The Warriors saw unders recently versus the Magic, Jazz, and Celtics. Meanwhile, LA saw 5 out of their last 9 stay under the line, throwing out that Knicks game. I like the Lakers -6.5, under 222. And of course, if there are any games we missed here, any games we skipped, well, you just might see those on the premium page. So, wink, wink. Anyway, let's jump into some college basketball action. For some reason, not listed on our big screen behind me. I guess we're really getting a head start on the competition. Don't even have them listed on the big screen behind me. But anyway, we are going to start off with NC-A&T taking on Charleston. That'll be a 6 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Charleston's -19.5, totals 154. Now, Charleston's 17-6 on the year, winning record against the point spread. NC-A&T's 4-19 overall themselves, just 40% against the number. Now, more recently, the Aggies are on a 9-game losing streak, and they did fail to cover in all of those contests except for 2. Really struggling right now. They are in the bottom 30 in the nation in shooting from the field. They rank 311th in shooting from three-land. Now, Charleston on the other side, playing some pretty good basketball, 7-3 straight up in their last 10, averaging nearly 80 points a game for the entire season. Ante Brazovic is averaging nearly 19 points a game for the Cougs. Daywilk Tavares shoots 43% from three-land. Now, you do want to keep an eye on Tavares. He is currently listed as questionable. Keep an eye on him, although I think the Cougs can still get the job done, whether Tavares is in the lineup or not. Total-wise, Charleston went 4-3 to the under in their last 7, throwing out that contest against Stony Brook. Meanwhile, NC-A&T saw 5 out of their last 9 stay under the line themselves. Big number here. I'm not thrilled about it, but the Aggies have been bad, and Charleston's playing some pretty good basketball at the moment. Give me College of Charleston, C of C, minus 19.5, under 154. All right, some more small school action. I'll tell you, actually saw another handicapper throw out this game as one of his top 6 locks. So, and we're on the same side here, so there's a nice little nugget for you. Albany taking on Bryant, 6 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Bryant's minus 9.5, totals 159 and a hook. Now the Bryant Bulldogs are 14-9 on the year. Albany just 11-12. The Danes are also covering in just 33% of their ball games. Failed to cover more recently in 8 out of their last 9. If you've been fading these guys, you've been making a ton of money. And I'll tell you, the Danes have been kind of a disaster on defense. Size really an issue for these guys. Their opponents are making nearly 50% of their field goals against them. And unfortunately for them, Bryant, yes, Little Bryant University, they're averaging 84 points a game themselves, 7th in the country in field goals. Rafi Pinzon scores 19 points a game, 43% from 3-land. And Earl Timberlake averages 15.5 points per contest himself. Bryant went 4-3 to the under in their last 7, throwing out that UMBC contest. Meanwhile, Albany went 7-3 to the under in their last 10. This is a really big total. I'm not sure if Albany can help get this one over the line. I like Bryant minus 9.5, under 159 and a hook in dominating fashion. All right, next contest, UNC-Wilmington taking on Delaware, the Blue Hens, 6:30 Eastern tip. UNC-Wilmington's minus 6 away from home, totals 153. Wilmington's 18-5 on the year, 67% against the point spread. Meanwhile, Delaware is just 11-12 on the year, losers of their last 4 straight. Of course, the Blue Hens are allowing 78 points a game, really struggling on D. They rank 327th in field goals allowed. Now, Wilmington on the other side, they're averaging nearly 81 points a game themselves. They're in the top 25 in offensive rebounds. They're also doing a nice job, getting to the stripe. Wilmington's currently 16th in the country in free throws made per game. Now, they also went 6-3 to the over in their last 9. Plenty of overs for them. Delaware, oddly enough, 6-3 to the over in their last 9 themselves. I like UNC-Wilmington minus 6 away from home, over 153. Next contest, Towson, Stony Brook, 6:31 East. I don't know if that's right. That's a very weird time. But anyway, looking at all, my sites and stuff, I see 6:31 Eastern tip-off. Maybe that's what they do in Stony Brook. But anyway, they're not favored. It's Towson who's minus 8 away from home. Totals 129.5. Towson 14-9 on the year, winning record against the point spread. Stony Brook 5-18, and losers of 9 out of their last 10. Maybe they should start playing on an even number, 631. I've never seen that, but anyway, or maybe just never noticed that. But I'll tell you, Stony Brook on offense, they turn it over a bunch, and they are in the bottom 10 in defensive field goals, defensive field goal percentage. Their opponents, they're making nearly 50% of their field goals against them, and they're facing a red-hot Towson squad on the other side, who actually got the W in their last 8 straight. They covered the number in all but 2 of those games. Defensively, the Tigers are allowing only 65 points a game. Very tough to score against. But oddly enough, Towson went 6-3 to the over in their last 9. Stony Brook saw 5 out of their last 9 get over the line as well. Pretty low total here. I think Towson can help us put it over. Give me the Tigers of Towson minus 8 over 129.5. Next contest, Hampton, Monmouth, 7 o'clock East. Monmouth's minus 4, totals 142. Now, the Hawks are just 7-16 on the year, struggles shooting the basketball. Monmouth's 332nd in field goals made. They also went 60% to the under in their last 10. Hampton saw unders recently versus William & Mary, Campbell, and Elon. This is a pure fade of Monmouth in this spot here. I like Hampton plus 4, under 142. All right, next matchup, Northeastern taking on Hofstra, 7 o'clock East. Hofstra's -3, totals 131, and this is another one of those games. I saw another handicapper with their top, handful of locks, and he had Northeastern in this one. I'm not in agreement. I'm on the other side in this one. I agreed with you a couple of games ago, but I can't agree with you on this one. The pride of Hofstra, they got a winning record on the year, winning record against the point spread. Meanwhile, Northeastern, just 10-13 against the number, losers of 6 out of their last 9. The Huskies are having a tough time getting to the foul line. They're making just 67% of their free throws. They rank 338th in free throws made per game. And they're facing a Hofstra school who has been very difficult to score points against. They're allowing only 65 points a game for the year, 8th in the nation in defensive field goal percentage. Hofstra is limiting opposing shooters to just 37% from the field. Michael Graham leads the program in rebounds and blocks. Cruz Davis has 31 steals. Of course, no real shock here. Hofstra went 60% to the under in their last 10. Northeastern saw unders versus Elon, Drexel, and Stony Brook. I like Hofstra -3, under 131. All right, next contest should be a good one. Probably going to see a lot of videos, a lot of guys covering this game. I have not seen any handicapper videos out there covering this one as of yet, so I don't have much insight from them on this one, but I'll let you know what I think. Maryland, Ohio State, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Ohio State's -3, totals 146. Now, the Buckeyes are 13-9, but they actually took the loss in 4 out of their last 7. And Maryland on the other side, 17-5 on the year, winners of 6 out of their last 7. Now, the Terps are a top 20 point producing team. They rarely turn the ball over. They don't make a whole lot of mistakes. Of course, no real surprise here. Maryland's currently 13th in the country in field goals made per game, doing a nice job getting to the cup. Jacoby Gillespie, 41% from three land, second on the roster in points. And Derek Queen, he's averaging 15 points a game himself. Meanwhile, the Buckeyes on the other side, well, they tend to get into all kinds of foul trouble. They're actually 11th worst in the country in free throws allowed per game. Now, they also suffered losses recently to the likes of Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin. Now, Ohio State did see overs in 3 out of their last 5. Maryland went 6-2 the over in their last 8. I like Maryland away from home here. Give me the Terps +3 over 146. Next game, Western Kentucky, Kennesaw State, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Kennesaw is -2, totals 158. Kennesaw State, 13-9 on the year. Western Kentucky, 14-8. Now, the Hilltoppers are covering in 65% of their games, doing a nice job contesting shots on D. Their opponents are making just 40% of their field goals against them and just 30% from three-land. And unfortunately for Kennesaw State, well, they've been kind of terrible shooting the basketball. The Owls are making only 29% of their three-pointers, and they definitely struggled offensively in their past handful of games. Now, no real surprise, the Owls' last 4 straight all stayed under the total. They also went 7-2 to the under in their last 9. And oddly enough, Western Kentucky, they went 7-2 to the under in their last 9 themselves. I like the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky +2, under 158. All right, next game. Youngstown State taking on Oakland, 7 o'clock East. Oakland's -5, totals 135.5. Now, the Grizzlies of Oakland, they are 10-14 on the year, losing record against the point spread. Not so good for the Fighting Jack Gelkies. Jack Gulke, remember him? He shot all those 3 balls. Was that last year? Anyway, Youngstown State on the other side, 14-10 on the year. Tough to shoot the ball against. The Penguins are 35th in 3 balls allowed, 11th in the country in blocks. Of course, a lot of that is thanks to 7'3" sophomore Gabe Dines, who has a staggering 73 blocks on the year, team leader in rebounds. And Nico Gallette's got the most steals. They're facing The Fighting Gulkies of Oakland, who failed to cover in 6 out of their last 9. Having a terrible time on offense. The Grizzlies are averaging only 66 points per contest this year. They're in the bottom 15 in shooting the 3 ball. They're actually making just 29% of their attempts from beyond the arc. Oakland, they went 60% to the under in their last 10. Youngstown, 5 out of their last 9 stayed under themselves. Like Youngstown State, +5, under 135.5. Next game, Sam Houston taking on Florida International, 7 o'clock East. Sam Houston State's -2, totals 145.5. Now, the Bearcats are just 8-14 on the year, and they're covering in just 21% of their games, 21% against the number. If you've been fading the Bearcats, you're rich. Of course, more recently, Sam Houston failed to cover in 8 out of their last 9. They're 305th in points allowed. And just keep in mind, as many good positive stats that I give for teams, pay attention to those negative stats. I mean, Sam Houston failing to cover in 8 out of their last 9. That might be a team you want to look on the list and really, pound the other side. Now, I'll tell you, FIU really hasn't been much better. They've been pretty bad as of late, but they did cover recently against the likes of Kennesaw State, Jacksonville State, and this very Sam Houston team in their most recent meeting. Now, Florida International, they're one of the better defensive rebounding teams in Conference USA. Jaden Brewer's got the most rebounds and points on the roster. Vianney Salachim has 41 blocks on defense. Now, FIU went 4-3 to the over in their last 7. Sam Houston saw 4 out of their last 7 get over the number themselves, throwing out that Louisiana Tech game. Give me FIU +2 over 145.5. Next matchup, Temple, USF, 7 o'clock East. South Florida's -2, totals 150.5. Now, the South Florida Bulls are playing just .500 basketball. Terrible against the point spread. Not as bad as Sam Houston, but almost. USF's covering in just 28% of their games this year. Meanwhile, Temple on the other side, 14-8 straight up. Winners of 7 out of their last 10. The Owls are averaging over 80 points a game this year, and they're doing a terrific job getting to the foul line. Actually, 5th in college basketball in free throws made per game. Of course, a name you should recognize, Jamal Mashburn Jr. Well, he's averaging over 22 points per contest, 44% from 3-land. And Steve Settle, he's averaging double-digit points himself, 41% from beyond the arc. And they're facing a USF squad who hasn't covered a point spread since January 11th, failed to cover in their last 6 straight. They also saw overs recently against the likes of Florida Atlantic, UAB, and Wichita State. Of course, Temple, I don't know if you've been paying attention to them, absolute over machines. They saw their last 10 straight get over the total. Once again, another trend maybe you want to think about. If you've been pounding these Temple overs, you are a very rich man or lady. I like Temple +2 over 150.5. Next contest, Middle Tennessee taking on Jacksonville State, 7 o'clock East. Jacksonville State's -1.5, totals 142 and a hook. Now, Jacksonville State, 15-7 on the year, 68% against the point spread. Very good covering team. Of course, the Red Hot Gamecocks have also won their last 6 straight, and they definitely do a nice job on defense. They rank 30th in defensive field goal percentage, rarely gets into foul trouble. They're actually 7th in free throws allowed per game. Middle Tennessee, on the other side, failed to cover in their last 3 straight, and they're putting too many guys to the stripe themselves. Their opponents are knocking down 75% of their free throws against them. Middle Tennessee went 6-3 to the under in their last 9. Jacksonville State, 8-1 to the under in their last 9 themselves. Another pertinent trend there. If you're pounding Jacksonville State unders, you've been doing a nice job over the past couple of months. I like Jacksonville State -1.5, under 142 and a hook. Next game, William and Mary, Drexel, 7 o'clock East. The Drexel Dragons are -2, totals 149. Now the Dragons are 12-11 on the year. William and Mary on the other side, 14-9. And more recently, the Tribe won 8 out of their last 10. And man, do they love shooting that deep ball. William and Mary, they're averaging just about 11 made three-pointers a game. They are 6th in the country in 3 balls made per contest. Gabe Dorsey leads the squad in scoring, 40% from three-land for him. And Noah Collier scoring a dozen points a game himself, 41% from beyond the arc. Now, oddly enough, the Tribe went 7-3 to the under in their last 10. Drexel went 8-2 to the under in their last 10 themselves. Under machines, both teams here. Give me William and Mary +2, under 149. Next matchup, Eastern Kentucky taking on Florida Gulf Coast, 7 o'clock East. FGCU, they are -6, totals 148. Now the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles are 13-10, winning record against the point spread. Meanwhile, Eastern Kentucky, 12-11 themselves, but just 42% against the number. When it comes to offensive production, the Colonels are 331st in shooting from the field. Of course, defensively on the other end, well, Eastern Kentucky, they've been a bit of a nightmare. 77 points a game they're allowing. 337th in defensive boards, getting bodied underneath the basket. Meanwhile, FGCU, winners of 8 out of their last 10 themselves, 70% covering during that time frame. When it comes to defensive play, the Eagles allow only 68 points a game. Keyshawn Kellman leads the program in blocks and rebounds. Ramir Barno with the most steals. Gulf Coast did go 60% to the over in their last 10. Eastern Kentucky, 7-3 to the over in their last 10 themselves. I like Florida Gulf Coast -6, over 148. Next game, St. Mary's taking on San Francisco, 9 o'clock Eastern start. St. Mary's is -6, totals 131. Now the St. Mary's Gales, they have quietly gone 20-3 on the season. San Francisco, 18-6 themselves. That said, though, the San Francisco Dons, they do have a losing record against the number this year, and more recently they failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10. They're facing a St. Mary's team who hasn't lost a ball game in quite some time. They also covered the number in 8 out of their last 9. St. Mary's is averaging 76 points a game, and they do rank 5th in the country in offensive boards. So really, in the rare instance they miss shots, they're getting second and third chances, just getting that ball right back. Mitchell Saxon, he has 32 blocks on the year, second in rebounds. And Paul Marouskas, he's got 204 big rebounds on the season. Now, injury-wise, Malik Thomas is questionable for San Francisco. Keep an eye on him. Total-wise, the Dons went 60% to the over in their last 10. St. Mary's, they saw overs recently versus Washington State, San Diego, and Loyola Marymount. I like St. Mary's -6, over 131. Next matchup, Portland State taking on Idaho, 9 o'clock East. Idaho's -2, totals 146.5. Now, the Idaho Vandals are just 10-13 on the season, losing record against the point spread. Portland State on the other side, 13-9 themselves, covering in nearly 60% of their games. Of course, more recently, Portland State went 7-1 against the number in their last 8. Really good covering team as of late, and they are in the top 25 in the nation in offensive field goal percentage. Jalen Henderson leads the roster in scoring. Terry Miller averages nearly a dozen points a night. You guys have a delay tomorrow?
No, we got virtual.
Nice. The Pilots, they went 7-1 against the number in their last 8. Top 25 in field goal percentage. Jalen Henderson leads the roster in scoring. Terry Miller averages nearly a dozen points a night. Idaho, on the other side, they're allowing 75 points a game. 307. They're 322 in defensive field goal percentage. Now, the Vandals went 6-2 to the over in their last 8. Portland State saw overs recently versus Montana State, Montana, Northern Arizona. I like Portland State +2 over 146.5. All right, next game, Sacramento State taking on Eastern Washington. 9 o'clock Eastern start. EWU, they are -9. The Fighting Cooper Cups. Total is 135. Eastern Washington, they're just 7-16 on the year. Really bad against the point spread, covering in just 28% of their games. Of course, more recently, the Eagles dropped 5 out of their last 6, and they did fail to cover in all of those contests besides one. Now, Eastern Washington on the other side, they're allowing 75 points a game on defense, and they're facing a Sacramento State team who's definitely tough to score against. They allow just 68 points a game, 42% from the field. 6'10 senior Jacob Holt, he's got the most rebounds and blocks. E.J. Neal with 19 steals. The Hornets did see overs in 3 out of their last 4. Eastern Washington saw overs recently versus Idaho State, Idaho, and Montana. Hey, the Hornets are catching nearly double digits. I think this is a good number for them. I like Sacramento State +9 over 135. Next game, Loyola-Marymount taking on Gonzaga, 9 o'clock East. Gonzaga is -20, totals 154. Now, the Zags are 16-7, but just 9-14 against the point spread. This isn't your grandfather's Gonzaga. I think maybe that number is maybe taking advantage of squares. A lot of people hear Gonzaga, they're like, oh yeah, they typically go 30-3. You know, like, yeah, this ain't your grandfather's Gonzaga. They've been tested and challenged this year, and they have not been good against the point spread. Once again, the Zags just 9-14 against the number. Loyola-Marymount on the other side, 14-8 themselves, winners of their last 5 straight. And during that 5-game stretch, you know, Loyola played some tough defense. They allowed only 63 points a game during that stretch. As far as the entire season is concerned, well, the Lions are limiting opposing shooters to just 41% from the field. 6'11 junior Javon Porter, he has the most blocks and rebounds. Myron Amy with 26 steals himself. Now, the Zags failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10. You know, this is a mighty big number, you know, for a team struggling against the point spread. I think I kind of touched on that before, but, you know, not covering well, laying 20 points, not a great spot for them. Now, the Bulldogs did see unders recently versus St. Mary's, Washington State, and Portland. Meanwhile, Loyola, they saw 5 out of their last 9 stay under the line, throwing out that Portland game. I like Loyola-Marymount +20 under 154. Next game, Santa Clara, Portland, 10 o'clock East. Santa Clara is -14, totals 153. Now, Santa Clara is 15-9 on the year. Portland just 8-16. The Pilots are allowing 81 points a game, and they're in the bottom 5 in the country in 3 balls allowed. And unfortunately for them, Santa Clara, they're averaging double-digit 3-pointers a game. They love shooting that deep ball, and the Broncos are averaging 80 points per contest. Elijah Mahi. It's just one Mahi. I added the nickname in there. Elijah Mahi, really corny. I just saw an orb fly by the way. But anyway, Elijah Mahi, he's making 40% of his 3 balls, double-digit points a game. And, of course, Adama Alpha Ball, he's leading the roster in points. Now, as a team, the Broncos got the W in 6 out of their last 9. Victories over the likes of Wazoo, Gonzaga, and San Francisco, very formidable opponents. They also saw 5 out of their last 9 get over the line, throwing out that Pacific contest. Meanwhile, Portland went 7-2 to the over in their last 9 themselves. I like Santa Clara -14 over 153. Next matchup, San Diego taking on Pacific, 10 o'clock East. Pacific's -3, totals 145. And even though Pacific's struggled this year. They did cover the number in 5 out of their last 9. Covers against the likes of Wazoo, Loyola, and Portland. And they get to take on a San Diego squad who's really struggled on offense. You know, the Toreros are just 4-20 overall for the year. Bottom 15 in shooting from the field. And no real surprise, San Diego's averaging only 68 points a game. Now, the Toreros did see unders recently versus Loyola, Washington State, and Oregon State. Meanwhile, UOP, they saw unders in their last 4 straight themselves. I like Pacific -3, under 145. Next game, Hawaii, Cal Poly, 10 o'clock East. Hawaii is -2 away from home, totals 152. The Rainbow Warriors are 13-9 on the year. Cal Poly's just 8-15. And more recently, Cal Poly lost 8 out of their last 10. They failed to cover in all of those contests besides 3. The Mustangs are currently allowing 81 points per contest, bottom 10 in the country in field goals allowed. They're facing a Hawaii team who covered recently versus the likes of Cal State Fullerton, UC Davis, and Cal State Bakersfield. And aside from allowing just 69 points a game defensively, they're also 15th in defensive boards, doing a great job in the paint. Tanner Christensen has the most blocks and rebounds. Aaron Hunkin Claytor's tied for the team lead in steals. Now, oddly enough, Hawaii went 4-3 to the over in their last 7, throwing out that UC Davis game. Meanwhile, Cal Poly saw 5 out of their last 9 get over the line, throwing out their UC Davis game themselves. I like Hawaii -2 over 152. Next game, UC Davis. Speaking of which, UC Davis taking on Long Beach State, 10 o'clock East. UC Davis is -3 away from home, totals 134.5. Now, the Fighting Aggies of UC Davis, they do have a winning record on the year, and more importantly, they're covering in 65% of their games. Now, Long Beach State on the other side, just 7-16 overall, 38% against the number. The Beach is currently on a 6-game skid, playing like beached whales. Just 1-8 straight up in their last 9. The Beach allows 74 points per contest, and they are in the bottom 10 in guarding that deep ball. And even though UC Davis really isn't known for their offensive prowess themselves, they do get to the stripe an awful lot, and kind of a quirky trend, but UC Davis, they rarely get their shots blocked. They're in the top 20 in fewest blocked shots on offense. I don't know if that's important, but I figured I'd just throw that nugget in there. They're also in the top 40 in free throws made per game. Hey, might want to remember this name, Ty Johnson. He's averaging nearly 22 points a game. Ty Johnson is 6th in the country in points per contest. And Connor Sevilla, he's averaging double-digit points a game, drilling nearly 40% of his attempts from beyond the arc. UC Davis did go 6-3 to the under in their last 9. Long Beach, they saw unders recently versus the likes of Cal Poly, UC San Diego, and UC Riverside. I like UC Davis -3, under 134.5. Next matchup, Tarleton State taking on Seattle, 10 o'clock East. Seattle's -9, totals 129. Seattle's just 8-13 on the year, losing record against the point spread. Meanwhile, Tarleton on the other side, winning record against the number, 6-3 against the spread in their last 9. And when it comes to defensive play, well, the Tarleton State Texans, they are 6th in the country in steals, 2nd in defensive turnovers. Izzy Miles leads the team in steals. Chris Mapaka with the most blocks and rebounds. Seattle on the other side lost their last 3 straight, just 65 points a game they averaged during that stretch. I think they're going to have, problems offensively in this one. And no real surprise, the Red Hawks currently ranked 311th in field goals made. Now, oddly enough, Seattle saw overs recently versus Grand Canyon, Utah Tech, and Washington. Meanwhile, Tarleton went 4-3 to the over in their last 7, throwing out that Abilene Christian game. This is a lot of points, nearly double digits. I think the Texans can keep this one close. Give me Tarleton State +9 over 129. Next contest, Southern Utah taking on Cal Baptist, 10 o'clock East. Cal Baptist is -12, totals 142.5. Cal Baptist 11-10 on the year, but they've covered in just 33% of those games. Pretty bad against the number. And more recently, the Lancers failed to cover in 6 out of their last 9. They rank 338th in shooting from three land. And unfortunately for them, Southern Utah has been incredibly tough against the long ball. They're 6th in the country in 3 balls allowed. Now, total-wise, the Thunderbirds went 6-2 to the under in their last 8. Cal Baptist, they saw 5 out of their last 8 stay under the total themselves. A lot of points here. I like Southern Utah +12, under 142.5. All right, next game. Cal State Fullerton taking on Cal State Northridge, 10 o'clock East. Cal Northridge, also known as CSUN, they are -15, totals 153. Now the Northridge Matadors are 15-7 on the year, 60% against the point spread. Cal State Fullerton just 5-17 themselves, losing record against the number. More recently, the Titans dropped 8 out of their last 9. They're the second worst three-point shooting team in college basketball. Cal State Fullerton, they're making just 27% of their deep balls. And unfortunately for them, Northridge, they've been tough defensively. The Matadors are 17th in defensive turnovers, 13th in field goals allowed. Keontae Jones has 31 blocks, 41 steals, and 202 rebounds. And Mahmoud Fofana, 30 steals on the year himself. Of course, as a team, the Matadors got the W in 7 out of their last 10. They also saw unders recently versus Cal State Bakersfield, UC San Diego, and Hawaii. Now, Fullerton, on the other side, they saw unders against Cal State Bakersfield, Hawaii, and UC Davis. I like CSUN, Northridge, -15, under 153. And that's going to bring us to our next and final breakdown for the video. Washington State taking on Oregon State, 11 o'clock Eastern tip. Oregon State's -7, totals 147.5. Oregon State 16-7 on the year, 73% against the point spread, absolute cash cows. And more recently, they covered in 6 out of their last 8. Currently 10th in the entire nation in defensive boards. Michael Rataj leads the team in rebounds, blocks, and steals. DeMarco Minor with 37 steals himself. Meanwhile, Wazoo on the other side, well, they lost their last 4 straight. They averaged just 64 points a game during that span. And aside from allowing 76 points a game on defense, they rank 309th in field goals allowed per game. Now, the Cougs saw overs recently versus St. Mary's, Santa Clara, and Portland. Meanwhile, Oregon State went 9-1 to the over in their last 10. I like Oregon State -7 over 147.5. And with that, folks, now it's time for our quick pick recap starting in the NBA. I like Boston -10.5 over 228. Houston +1 under 216. Magic +9 under 221. And I like the Lakers -6.5 under 222. College basketball, Charleston -19.5 under 154. Bryant -9.5 under 159 and a hook. UNC Wilmington -6 under 153. Towson -8 over 129.5. Hampton +4 under 142. Hofstra -3 under 131. Maryland +3 over 146. Western Kentucky +2 under 158. Youngstown State +5 under 135.5. Florida International +2 over 145 and a hook. Temple +2 over 150.5. Jacksonville State -1.5 under 142 and a hook. William & Mary +2 under 149. Florida Gulf Coast -6 over 148. St. Mary's -6 over 131. Portland State +2 over 146.5. Sacramento State +9 over 135. Loyola Marymount +12 under 154. Santa Clara -14 over 153. Pacific -3 under 145. Hawaii -2 over 152. UC Davis -3 under 134.5. Tarleton State +9 over 129. Southern Utah +12 under 142 and a hook. Cal Northridge -15 under 153. And give me Oregon State -7 over 147.5. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium page. And if you do end up getting a membership here today on my premium site, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships during that time frame absolutely free. They're going to be included with your membership. That's why I always tell folks, you know, that Gold Club package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. Gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And a membership, a package that's included with that membership, college basketball tier package, where we are once again 4-0 in our last 4 plays in that membership. Red hot right now. But most importantly, folks, gotta thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, folks, happy Thursday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium page.